It all happened so quickly. The phone buzzed on the table, and Sarah was distracted for a moment. She picked it up, expecting nothing more than a message from a friend. But her heart stopped when she read the text. The words hit her like a slap across the face. "I don't think he'll ever find out." Her eyes blurred, but she read it again, willing herself to be mistaken. But it was the truth. The weight of those words crushed her. Sarah glanced over at Tom, who was lying on the couch, his phone face down beside him. He was in the same space, but a world apart. The silence was suffocating as her mind raced. Her hand shook as she put the phone down. How long had this been going on? The room felt smaller, colder. She stood frozen for a second, taking in the reality of what was happening. Tom's phone buzzed again, and she couldn't wait anymore. Sarah couldn't ignore it. She confronted him, her voice breaking through the stillness. "What's this, Tom?" she demanded, holding up the phone. He froze, the blood. The tension in the room is thick. Sarah stands frozen, unable to move. The slap was a physical reaction, but her heart is still numb, unable to fully process what's happening. Tom finally speaks, his voice trembling. "Sarah, please, let me explain," he begs. But his words are hollow. Nothing he says can fix what's broken. He reaches out for her, but she steps back, her body trembling with a mixture of anger and hurt. "Explain?" Sarah asks, her voice breaking. "You think you can explain this?" She can't believe what she's hearing. The man she trusted, the man she loved, had betrayed her in the worst possible way. "How long, Tom?" she whispers, unable to bear the weight of the question. He pauses, and in that silence, Sarah feels every second stretch, every moment of betrayal, amplifying the pain she feels. The silence between them grows unbearable. Tom's face is pleading, but Sarah can no longer recognize him in the man standing before her. "I thought you loved me," Sarah says softly, her voice filled with sorrow. "I did," Tom replies quickly, but there's a hesitation in his voice, one that betrays his sincerity. "How could you do this?" Sarah asks, almost to herself. She doesn't expect an answer, but the question lingers in the air, unanswered. She feels the crushing weight of betrayal. The life she built with Tom was a lie, and nothing will ever be the same again. Sarah feels the need to leave. She can't stand being in the same room with Tom anymore. Everything they shared feels tainted. "I can't do this," she says, her voice shaking as she grabs her coat from the chair. Tom steps forward, his hands reaching out to stop her, but she pulls away. "Please don't go," he pleads. But Sarah is beyond saving, beyond hope. "You don't get to ask me that," she replies harshly, her tears threatening to fall again. "Not after everything." She turns, walking toward the door, leaving Tom standing there, helpless and lost. The door closes behind Sarah with a soft click, and the world outside feels like a cold, unforgiving place. As she steps into the night, her thoughts race. She doesn't know where to go or what to do. All she knows is that her heart is shattered. As the car drives away, the reality of the situation sinks in. She can't go back to the life she had before. There's no turning back from this, no undoing the hurt. But deep down, Sarah knows she has to rebuild. She has to move on, no matter how painful it feels. Days pass in a blur. Sarah moves through the motions of her day, but everything feels distant, unreal. The pain of betrayal gnaws at her from within. She tries to go about her life, but the memory of Tom's face, the confusion and guilt in his eyes, haunts her. Her friends try to reach out, but Sarah can't bring herself to talk to them. She's trapped in her own mind, replaying every moment with Tom, wondering where it all went wrong. She receives a message from him, but she can't bring herself to open it. Does he even know how much he's hurt me? She wonders. Thought of facing him again seems impossible. Why did I ignore the signs? She spends the night lying awake, her thoughts racing. The next morning, she resolves to face him. She can't keep running from the truth. But when she walks into their shared apartment, everything feels wrong. The place that once felt like home now feels like a prison. The moment Sarah steps into the apartment, she's hit with a wave of memories. moments that were once joyful, now tinged with heartbreak. The smell of Tom's cologne still lingers in the air, the scent of their shared life now suffocating. She hears a sound from the bedroom. Tom. Sarah's heart races. Part of her wants to leave, to walk away, but part of her needs answers. As she walks down the hall, her feet feel heavy, reluctant to face the man who shattered her world. She reaches the door and pauses, her hand hovering over the knob. The door creaks open, and she sees him, sitting on the bed looking lost, his head in his hands. For a moment, she wants to rush into his arms and pretend like everything is okay, but the reality of the situation grips her. The trust is gone. "I need answers, Tom," she says, her voice trembling. His face is a mixture of guilt and regret, but it's not enough. Not anymore. "I never meant to hurt you," Tom says, his voice low and shaky. "I don't know what happened, Sarah. I was confused. I made a mistake." Sarah feels the words like a slap. A mistake? The simple words don't carry the weight of the devastation he's caused. She takes a step closer, her fists clenched. "A mistake," she repeats, her voice rising with anger. "You didn't just make a mistake, Tom. You lied. You betrayed me." Tom looks up, his eyes filled with tears, but Sarah doesn't care. "How long, Tom?" she asks, her voice breaking. He hesitates, the guilt washing over him. "It's been 6 months," he admits, the words falling from his mouth like poison. 6 months. Sarah's heart cracks even more. The lie, the deceit, it's been festering for months. "Why didn't you just tell me?" she asks, almost pleading. Tom shakes his head, tears streaming down his face. "I didn't want to hurt you," he says, his voice cracking. "But I've hurt you more than I ever thought possible." Sarah takes a deep breath, the anger boiling inside her. 6 months, Tom," she repeats, her voice shaking with fury. 6 months of lying to me. And for what? For what? Tom stands up, his eyes pleading for forgiveness, but Sarah can't find it in her to give it. "I never wanted this," he says again, his voice desperate. "I never wanted to hurt you." Sarah laughs bitterly, the sound cold and hollow. "Well, you did. You've shattered everything." The silence stretches between them, suffocating. Finally, Sarah speaks, her voice quieter, but filled with finality. "I can't do this anymore." She turns to walk away, but Tom grabs her arm, his touch desperate. "Please don't go," he pleads. But Sarah is beyond saving, beyond hope. "You don't get to ask me that," she replies harshly, her tears threatening to fall again. "Not after everything." She turns, walking toward the door, leaving Tom standing there, lost and alone. The door closes behind Sarah with a soft click, and the world outside feels like a cold, unforgiving place. As she steps into the night, her thoughts race. She doesn't know where to go or what to do. All she knows is that her heart is shattered. As the car drives away, the reality of the situation sinks in. She can't go back to the life she had before. There's no turning back from this, no undoing the hurt. But deep down, Sarah knows she has to rebuild. She has to move on, no matter how painful it feels. The elevator doors open, and she steps out into the world that feels foreign to her. She's free, but at what cost? Sarah has tried to fill the silence in her life with anything that doesn't remind her of Tom. She throws herself into work, spends time with friends, and distracts herself with anything that can keep her from the pain gnawing at her insides. But no matter how much she tries to avoid it, the emptiness she feels inside is ever present. She still sees Tom's face in every memory, in every corner of their apartment. The nights are the hardest, lonely and quiet, the bed still cold on his side. Every little thing reminds her of the love she thought she had. She tells herself she's moving on, but every time she closes her eyes, she sees his tear-filled face, his desperate pleas for forgiveness. The messages from him never stop. His apology emails, texts, and voicemails fill her inbox. Each one feels like a slap in the face, but part of her wants to hear him beg again. She picks up her phone. Maybe I should just respond. I should at least hear him out, she thinks. But the hesitation weighs her down. Does she really want tea? Sarah's thoughts are interrupted by a message from her best friend Jenna. "We need to talk. I've been meaning to tell you something." Sarah's stomach drops as she stares at the text. The unease bubbles up again. She knows what it could be, but she doesn't want to face it. Is there more? She's already heard enough lies. What more could Jenna possibly have to say? Her mind races as she picks up the phone to reply, but then hesitates. Why now? She asks herself. She needs answers, but she's scared of what those answers might be. She picks up the phone and calls Jenna. The conversation starts off light, but the tension in Sarah's voice doesn't go unnoticed. "What's going on, Sarah?" Jenna asks, her tone cautious. "I know something's wrong." Sarah's throat tightens. "What is it, Jenna? What do you know?" There's a long pause before Jenna responds. "Tom. He's been talking to Eva, hasn't he?" The words hit her like a punch in the gut. Eva, her closest friend, had been the one to comfort Sarah during the hardest moments of her life. They shared secrets, laughed together, and supported each other in everything. The thought that Eva could be involved in Tom's betrayal makes Sarah's stomach churn. "Ava? Are you sure?" Sarah whispers, her voice hoarse. "I'm not sure, but I think you need to hear this," Jenna replies, her voice soft and regretful. Sarah feels her world crashing down again. How could Ava, her confidant, her friend, be involved in this? Her head spins with the realization that the people she trusted the most had betrayed her. She doesn't want to believe it, but she knows deep down that it's the truth. Sarah feels the weight of the world pressing down on her as she sinks onto the couch. How could I not see it? She wonders. How could I have been so blind? She holds her phone tight, her hands trembling. The conversation with Jenna lingers in Sarah's mind. The weight of Ava's betrayal is overwhelming. Sarah can't help but question everything she thought she knew about her relationships. How could Eva, someone who was so close, be part of this? She wonders if she's been living a lie all along. She decides to confront Ava. She can't avoid it anymore. She needs to know the truth, no matter how much it hurts. As she walks to Ava's apartment, her heart pounds in her chest. The familiar surroundings of the neighborhood do nothing to ease her anxiety. She knocks on Ava's door, and it's only when Ava opens it that Sarah finally speaks. "We need to talk," she says, her voice steady but filled with emotion. Ava looks shocked, her eyes wide with fear. "Sarah, what's going on?" she asks. But Sarah doesn't need the pleasantries. She cuts straight to the point. "Were you sleeping with Tom?" Ava's silence is deafening as Sarah waits for an answer. Her heart races in her chest as she watches Ava's face shift from shock to guilt. Ava slowly steps back, her eyes filling with tears. "I never meant for it to happen, Sarah," she begins, her voice shaky. It just happened." The words fall from her mouth like poison. "You betrayed me," Sarah says, her voice cracking. "You and Tom, you both." She cuts herself off, her emotions spiraling out of control. Ava takes a step closer, her hands trembling. "I never wanted to hurt you. I'm so sorry," she whispers. But the apology feels empty. "You've ruined everything," Sarah says, the finality in her voice cutting through the air. "I don't know if I can forgive you for this." Ava's tears fall freely now, but Sarah is beyond saving. She feels the betrayal like a physical blow, and the only thing she can think is how much she's lost. The weight of the past few days presses on Sarah as she stands in front of Tom's apartment, her breath shallow in the cold evening air. She hasn't spoken to him since that day when everything unraveled. Part of her wants to walk away, to let it all go, but she knows she can't. She has to hear it from him. She needs the truth, the kind of truth that he hasn't given her so far. Her hand shakes as she lifts it to knock on the door, and for a moment, she wonders if she's making a mistake. What if he tries to explain again? She thinks, what if I let him back in? The door opens slowly, and there he is, standing in front of her, his eyes wide with a mix of hope and fear. His mouth opens as if to say something, but Sarah doesn't let him. I need to hear it from you, she says, her voice steady despite the chaos inside her. Tell me why. Why did you do this? Tom's eyes flicker with guilt as he takes a step back, motioning for Sarah to enter. I never wanted this, he says, his voice barely above a whisper. I never wanted to hurt you. Sarah shakes her head, unable to hold back the bitter laughter that escapes her lips. No, you didn't want to hurt me. You just wanted to have your cake and eat it too, she snaps. Tom flinches, but Sarah doesn't stop. Tell me the truth, Tom. How long has this been going on? Tom hesitates, the silence stretching longer than either of them can bear. Finally he speaks. It started a year ago. I don't even know how it happened. I wasn't thinking straight, Sarah. The words feel like a punch, each one sinking deeper into her chest. A year, she repeats, her voice hollow. And you didn't think I would ever find out? Sarah steps closer, her emotions bubbling over. You told me you loved me, Tom. You made promises. You made me believe in us. Her voice cracks, the pain threatening to choke her. And you went behind my back with her. With Ava? Tom looks up at her, his face full of guilt. I never wanted to hurt you, Sarah. It was a mistake, but I don't know what came over me. Sarah's tears well up again, but this time they don't fall. She's too angry to cry. You don't know what came over you, she repeats, disbelief lacing her words. You know exactly what you did, Tom. You made a choice, and you destroyed everything. She takes a step back, feeling the walls closing in on her. The life she thought they shared feels like a cruel joke now, one she's not willing to laugh at. I'm sorry, Tom repeats, his voice desperate. I know I've messed up. I don't know how to fix this. I love you, Sarah. I do. Please, give me another chance. Sarah shakes her head, the weight of his words suffocating her. No, I can't do this. I can't go back to what we were. You've shown me who you really are, Tom. And I don't want that person in my life. Tom's face falls, and he stands up quickly, his hands reaching out to her, but Sarah takes a step back. Don't touch me, she says, her voice firm, more sure than she's felt in weeks. You've taken enough from me already. The silence between them is thick, filled with the finality of Sarah's decision. She doesn't feel relief, but she knows it's the right choice. I don't know if I'll ever forgive you, she adds quietly. But I'm done. As Sarah walks out of Tom's apartment, she feels the weight of everything finally lifting. Her chest is tight, but there's a strange sense of freedom in her steps. She's no longer tied to the past, to the lies that bound her. The night is quiet as she steps into the elevator. It's over. She doesn't know where to go, but for the first time in a long time, she's not afraid. She takes a deep breath and closes her eyes for a moment. There's pain in her heart, but there's also hope, a hope she hasn't felt in a long time. She knows it will take time to heal, but she's finally ready to move forward. She steps out into the night, ready to rebuild herself, ready to find peace again. Sarah spends the next few weeks trying to put the shattered pieces of her life back together. She fills her days with work, spending late nights at the office just to escape the constant thoughts of Tom and everything he took from her. The apartment feels like a different world now, one where she's just a shadow of the person she used to be. She avoids looking at the empty side of the bed, the spot where Tom once lay. It's a reminder of the life she thought she'd have, but now it's gone. She hasn't heard from him since their last confrontation, and a part of her is relieved. But then there are the quiet moments, the evenings when she's alone, that she can't escape the ache. Is it possible to ever trust again? She wonders. The question lingers in her mind like an unanswered prayer. She tries to push it away, but the fear of being hurt again is too strong. She picks up her phone, hesitates, and then opens an old text conversation with her best friend, Jenna. She's been silent for weeks, but Jenna has been pa. Later that evening, Jenna arrives at Sarah's apartment. She's been waiting for Sarah to reach out, and now that she has, she doesn't waste any time. Sarah opens the door, and there's a moment of silence as Jenna looks her over. She's worried about her friend, about how broken Sarah looks. I'm here for you, Sarah, Jenna says softly, her voice full of concern. Sarah forces a smile, but it doesn't reach her eyes. I know, she replies, stepping aside to let Jenna in. The two of them sit on the couch, Sarah with her arms crossed tightly over her chest. I don't know what to do, Jenna, Sarah admits, her voice barely above a whisper. I feel lost, like I'll never be the same again. Jenna reaches over and places her hand on Sarah's. You'll heal, I promise, but you have to take it one step at a time. The warmth of Jenna's touch is a small comfort, but it doesn't erase the pain. The next day, Sarah walks through the park near her apartment, trying to clear her head. The air is crisp, and the sun is setting, casting a warm glow over the path. She walks slowly, her footsteps echoing in the quiet. As she passes by a couple sitting on a bench, laughing and talking, the sight sends a pang of jealousy through her. Why can't I have that? She wonders. It's not just about Tom. It's about her fear of being alone forever, of never finding someone she can trust again. She stops by a fountain, staring into the water as it ripples gently. I have to learn to trust again, she tells herself. But how do I even begin? The thought is overwhelming, but she knows she can't keep hiding from it. The journey ahead won't be easy, but she's finally ready to take the first step. A few days later, Sarah meets with a therapist. She's nervous, but she knows she needs to take this step to begin healing. She sits down in the comfortable chair, the soft lighting in the room providing a sense of calm. I've been struggling, Sarah admits, her voice trembling slightly. I don't know how to move on from what happened. The therapist listens patiently, nodding as Sarah speaks. It's okay to feel this way, the therapist says, offering a reassuring smile. You've been through a traumatic experience, and it's going to take time, but you are allowed to heal. Sarah wipes a tear from her cheek, her heart heavy with the truth of the situation. Healing doesn't happen overnight, she realizes. It's going to take time. A few weeks later, Sarah starts to feel a shift within herself. She's still hurt, still broken, but there's a small flicker of hope that she hasn't felt in a long time. She spends more time with friends, reconnecting with people she's neglected. She begins going to yoga classes, trying to find some peace of mind. Each day, she feels a little stronger. But one evening, while she's out with friends, she sees Tom across the room. Her heart skips a beat, and for a moment, the world seems to stop. Tom looks at her, his face filled with regret, but Sarah doesn't feel the need to talk to him. I've moved on, she realizes. I'm not that person anymore. Thought is freeing, and she stands a little taller. Tom approaches her hesitantly, but she doesn't wait for him to speak. I'm moving on, Tom, she says quietly. And you should too. She turns away, walking out of the bar, a sense of finality settling in her chest. Sarah wakes up to the soft morning light filtering through her window. The apartment feels different now, brighter, warmer, as though it's been waiting for her to reclaim it. She stands up and moves toward the window, her gaze drifting to the bustling city below. For the first time in a long time, she doesn't feel trapped. The weight of the past no longer hangs over her. She spent months mending her broken heart, and though she still carries the scars, they no longer define her. She's learned to appreciate the quiet moments, the simple joys that life offers. As she sips her coffee, she feels a small flicker of excitement about the future. It's going to be okay, she tells herself. I'm going to be okay. Sarah spends her weekend reconnecting with the people she had pushed away during the chaos of her relationship with Tom. She meets up with Jenna, her best friend, at a cafe. The conversation is lighthearted, filled with laughter and old stories. For the first time, Sarah feels truly present in the moment. I'm proud of you, Jenna says, her smile warm and genuine. You've come so far. Sarah smiles back, her heart swelling with gratitude. I couldn't have done it without you, she replies, feeling the weight of the love and support surrounding her. Jenna leans forward, her tone more serious now. Do you think you'll ever trust again? Sarah takes a deep breath, her thoughts momentarily drifting to the past. I don't know, she says honestly. But I'm starting to realize that I don't need to rush it. I need to trust myself first. Sarah spends the following weeks focusing on herself. She rediscovers old hobbies, painting, hiking, reading, and slowly builds a routine that brings her peace. She doesn't have all the answers, but for the first time in months, she feels centered. One evening, while walking through the park, Sarah runs into an old acquaintance, Matty Ty. They exchange pleasantries, and he suggests they grab coffee sometime. Sarah feels the spark of a connection, but she isn't in a rush. She's not looking for validation anymore. I'm enough on my own, she thinks. I don't need someone else to complete me. She smiles to herself, knowing that when she's ready, she'll open her heart again, but this time, for the right reasons. A few months later, Sarah is walking down the street when she spots Tom across the road. Their eyes meet briefly, and for a moment, time seems to freeze. Her heart doesn't race like it used to. She doesn't feel the rush of emotions that used to overwhelm her. Instead, she feels nothing. Tom stands there, uncertain, waiting for her to react. But Sarah doesn't hesitate. She doesn't feel the need to confront him anymore, to yell or beg for an apology. She simply nods, a quiet acknowledgement of what was and what can never be again. Then, she turns and walks away. I'm done, she thinks. I'm stronger now. In the months that follow, Sarah finds herself in a new chapter of her life. She's reconnected with herself, rediscovered passions, and learned to embrace the freedom that comes with moving on. She finds joy in small moments, a good book, a quiet evening with friends, a morning walk. She begins to trust again, not in others, but in herself. And when Matt, the acquaintance from the park, asks her out for coffee, she agrees, not out of need, but out of curiosity. She's ready to explore the possibility of love again, but this time on her own terms. As she sips her coffee with Matt, she feels something she hasn't felt in a long time: hope. Sarah walks through the park again, the same one where her journey began. The air is crisp, but this time she's not weighed down by heartbreak. She's learned to enjoy the peace in solitude. Life no longer feels like an endless struggle. She's stronger now. The memories of Tom no longer sting. Instead, she views them with clarity, no longer defining her. She's proud of the woman she's becoming, someone who no longer depends on others for validation. I am enough, she realizes with a smile. Sarah and Matt, 30, sit at a cafe, enjoying their coffee and conversation. It's easy now, comfortable. There's no pressure, no rushing. She feels a spark, but she's in no hurry. For the first time in a long time, she's able to approach this relationship with patience. If it's meant to be, it will be, she thinks. Her past no longer haunts her. The future feels wide open, and for the first time, she's excited about what lies ahead. Sarah's phone buzzes with a text from Jenna. So proud of you. Sarah smiles, a wave of gratitude washing over her. She's been through the hardest part and has come out stronger. Life isn't perfect, but she's finally at peace with herself. The journey to healing wasn't easy, but it was worth it. Walking through the streets, Sarah feels the weight of her past lift off her shoulders. She no longer feels the need to look over her shoulder, wondering if she's being judged. She's free. She's made peace with herself and with the past. The man she used to be is gone, and she's embraced the person she's becoming. The journey isn't over, but Sarah is no longer afraid of what comes next. She's ready for whatever the future holds. Whether it's love, friendship, or more self-discovery, she knows she can handle it. Pain of the past is just that, past. The future is hers to shape.